5:59. I'll watch it. I don't think any clock in my house is the same time. Sure. Yeah. Okay. Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to our first in-person event for the club. Good, really great to see all of you here tonight. We wondered how many people would show. I think we've got a pretty good showing. And it's only 6 o'clock. It's not the meeting time at 7 yet.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is actually the 1-year anniversary of the last time we had an in-person meeting.
That's right. The last meeting was last March. So 1 year later, we're finally back together in person. We do have a couple of people that have gotten in on Zoom. So they're watching whatever's going on here, I hope. That is, I hope it's happening. So this is the open forum. So anybody have any questions from basic all the way up, whatever you'd like to ask, feel free to ask and we'll see if we can't find an answer. Yes, Bob?
This new version of Windows 10 that's up, each one to put it in on my machine.
You mean 20H2?
Is that what it is?
Yeah, 20H2. It's not a major version. It's got some good security in it and it's got some other things that are pretty good. That what you're probably running now is 2004.
I let it download one evening before I went to bed. The next time I turned it on, the machine took it out.
Your machine took it out?
Yeah.
That may mean that your computer isn't compatible. That is 20H2 is incompatible with some components on your computer. I found that on a couple of computers recently myself.
All right.
Usually it's a video card type problem.
It's a what problem?
Video problem. Microsoft is, in the past, what they would do is install, and then they realize they had a problem and say, something happened, and then they revert back to your old operating system. Now they're checking up front, and if they know they can't use that particular computer for whatever reason, they're just not installing. So you have to do a little research on Google to find out what the issue is or what the possible solution is. But we're getting to the point where Windows isn't going to run on some of the older machines. Now, that doesn't mean you can't keep using your computer with the older version of Windows. You can. It just means that you won't be able to get into the newer versions. Yep.
My laptop, every time I unplug it, it's battery low. I keep it plugged in most of the time.
Say that again. Each time you.
Every time I use my computer, the battery, right away, as soon as I unplug it, it's battery low. Then
Sounds like you need a new battery.
there's no charging circuit or something.
There is a charging circuit that's built into the laptop. And if you can you see down here on the bottom where the picture of the plug and the battery is? If I mouse over that, it tells me I'm fully charged 100%. And when I'm not fully charged, you can see it here now, fully charged 100%. If I'm not 100%, it'll have like a little lightning bolt going through it and it'll tell me that it's charging. And it'll tell me how many hours left to a full charge. But when your battery gets really low, it can't charge it anymore. Amazon.com. Most of the batteries are somewhere between around $15 or $20. There are some, though, I found one the other day that was like almost $40 to replace it. But if you go to the manufacturer, it's going to be over $100 for a battery. So I'd suggest you try Amazon.com. I brought a couple of these things with me. I forget where I got them. But have you ever seen something like this? You need a little, if I can figure out how to get it in. Need a little light for your keyboard? Anybody want it? I'd throw it, but you want it? All right, pick that up afterwards. We'll pass it back. Yeah.
Oh, you want it there?
No, I don't want it back. Now, here's another one for you people that are, need to get cooled off while you're using your computer. You want that one?
I want that. Fine.
You're welcome. So those are just a couple of little things that I don't know where I picked them up from, but I don't know if they came in as donations or one of my people that I go and visit to help them with their computer had them. I can't remember, but I've been kicking around my office for a little while. Any other questions? Yep.
When I work with file manager, it works just fine. Go away, come back to my screen an hour later, and file manager has opened up 6 versions of itself. Nobody's touching anything, nothing's moved.
Yeah, I think that's what you call Ghostbusters. It's possible. What I would check is I would make sure that your keyboard is cleaned out. You might get like a stiff bristled paintbrush and just brush through that to make sure it's cleaned out. Because I have seen issues with that. I did have one of our members. They turned the computer on, and as soon as they turned the computer on, she said it's coming up with weird stuff on the screen. Well, the weird stuff was the setup menu. You know, when you turn your computer on, you can press F2 or F1 to get the BIOS setup. Well, hers was just automatically going into the BIOS setup. It was easy enough to get out of it. All she had to do was press F10 and exit and save. But why? I couldn't figure it out. I said, this is really strange. I tried booting a couple of different times, tried doing different things. Finally, I turned the keyboard upside down and banged it, and the equivalent of a whole cracker came out. It worked fine after that. So you just never know what gets stuck in the keys, and can really mess things up a little bit. So I would try that first. I don't know about you, but sometimes I'll go to click File Manager, and it didn't come up right away. So I click it again and again and again. That's not what you're talking about. I know that. And you click it 2 or 3 times. It's like going to the elevator, you know, and you keep pressing the button until it comes. Well, when you do that with anything on Windows, it just opens it up again and again and again. And all of a sudden you get 5 or 6. I know that happens to me sometimes when I try to get into, let's say, Google Chrome. I click on Chrome, and then I click it again because I thought maybe I missed it. And then I get 2 or 3 windows pop up all at the same time. Any other questions?
You're still gonna have lessons.
Yes, every Thursday afternoon, I'm still gonna have lessons. They'll be on Zoom. Okay, but if you'd like some one-on-one lessons, or you'd like to come into the office, you can schedule time with us, an hour at a slot, and we'll be happy to sit there and go through whatever you'd like to go through. Okay, and that's not just me, that's a number of us will do that.
I'm an awful problem trying to get the computer to accept my password. Both my computer, my iPad and my cell phone.
Not your computer, your iPad, and your cell phone. Is that what you said? Your iPad and your cell phone,
Right,
not your computer.
no,
Okay,
I don't have,
you don't have a computer?
well, it's back in Rhode Island, and I have never taken lessons.
It's probably got coffee milk spilled all over it, right? How about Eclipse coffee syrup? No, I come from Rhode Island, so yeah. Cranston. So you've got a cell phone question and an iPhone question. I would suggest you give us either stop into the office or give us a call and see if somebody who's pretty good with that. Rose is our iPad and cell phone specialist, but most of us can probably help you to answer your question.
If I go to that door, I'm like, just open the door, or you gotta push the button?
If you go to the blue door
Yeah.
to get to the meeting, there's a whole, let me open it up. If we go to gc.info, which is our website, we'll get there. There you go. See over here, it says entrance instructions. Click on entrance instructions. If you go down East Ann Street from 41 all the way to the end, turn into the parking lot. Okay? You're going south on 41, take a left on East Ann. It's just before the Golden Corral. And go all the way to the end, and right on your right will be the parking lot. This is the side of the building, and this is what that side door looks like. There's a doorbell right there. Just press the doorbell. It gives us a nice fancy tune. And somebody, a lot of times it's Grover, jumps up and goes and answers the door, right, Grover?
You got me well trained.
Yeah. So if you've got some, big computer stuff like a desktop and things to bring in, leave it in your car, ring the bell, and then we'll come out and bring the cart and try and help you get that in. If it's just a laptop, just carry it in with you, okay? Any other questions? You did mention 20H too, Bob. 21H1 will be out soon. Sometime within the next month from what we're gathering from the things we're reading. It too is not going to be a major upgrade. It's just going to be a minor one. But that should come out pretty soon. Everybody doing their maintenance? And remember, we're available at the club to help you out with stuff that you really are having difficulties with, your computer running slow, can't figure out how to do the updates. That's what we're there for. Just come on in and bring your laptop or your desktop, and we'll be happy to work on it for you. Questions? Hi.
Hi there.
Harold, you don't have any questions? Oh, okay. So Thursday afternoons from 2 to 4 is when we have the computer class on Zoom. And any of you can join. And some people say, well, I don't want to get on that because my questions are too basic. Trust me, there's no such thing as a basic question. I think it's the basic questions that get enjoyed the most, because a lot of people learn the things that they didn't know.
You send out a link for Zoom?
I see, yes, there's an email. I send an email out every single week.
Oh, okay.
Okay, if you're not on my email list, see me afterwards and give me your email address.
Yeah. But I'll check.
Yep.
Things on OneDrive, but I'm not sure how they got on there. And I take things off of OneDrive and put them on a Blu-ray.
All right, the question is, that all of us, she realizes there's things going into OneDrive and she doesn't even know how they got there, right? Is it a fairly new computer? Yeah, some of the new computers are coming loaded with, from the manufacturer, with OneDrive set up so that your documents, your pictures and everything is automatically placed into OneDrive. Okay? Which is fine, except your OneDrive fills up. And when your OneDrive fills up, guess what Microsoft would like you to do? Buy more space. And it isn't super expensive, but you don't really need to do that. Matter of fact, I suggest that you make sure that your pictures aren't being backed up in OneDrive, because that takes the most, the pictures and videos takes the most space. And put them up on Google Photos. Google Photos until June 1st will be totally free, but you've got 15 gigabytes of space on there, where with Microsoft, you've only got 5 gigabytes. Let Microsoft hold your documents. Yes?
Can you just take the pictures off, can you take the pictures off of the OneDrive and put them on a thumb drive?
Yes, you can take anything that's on your computer and move it over to a thumb drive. That is correct. However, remember, you really want to have a backup of everything, a backup of your pictures, a backup of your documents. And a backup means you've got 2 copies. So putting it over on a thumb drive and removing it from your computer, now you haven't got it backed up. You've just got it saved in a different media. So if we were going to do that, I would at least save it onto 2 thumb drives. So you've got a second one someplace. But on the other hand, we're also teaching at the club that you should do a backup of your computer on a regular basis, preferably at least once a month. And we use various programs. I like to use EaseUs to do backup, which is free. And many of the club members also use Macrium Reflex, which is also free. They both do a great job creating an image of your entire hard drive onto an external drive. And if you do that, now you've got everything, including your pictures, backed up. And if you do that 2 months in a row, well, your pictures are in 2 different backup files.
What was the second one you said?
Macrium Reflex. And you can find both of those. Let me go back out to the home page. If we come down to the bottom of the home page, way down at the bottom, see where it says software? EaseUs free backup and Macrium Reflex free download. Both of them are download sites, so you can download it to your computer. And we have instructions or white papers out there on how to use each of those programs.
What are the white papers? I'm in the club every month and a half.
Well, the white papers are just articles that some of us have written.
Where do you find it?
Well, for instance, down here, white paper, password simplified, wise disk cleaner. And as we go up here, we'll see other things as well. Installing Macrium Reflex, Reflex is create Macrium boot disk, backing up with Macrium Reflex.
I need to interrupt a minute.
Yeah.
I need the mic.
You got it?
Okay. I don't know if, we just heard that there's a white Acura SUV parked right below and the motor is still running. If that's your car, need to come check it out.
Everybody close their eyes for 2 minutes. Well,
A white Acura SUV. Okay, thanks.
you're welcome. Is it yours? No.
Do you want one?
Yeah, do you want one? The engine's already running. I don't know. Good question. Yep, go ahead.
We used to have to make a disc every time that
Good question. When you run either one of those software, those applications, either the Macrium or the EaseUs, in order to restore the data when your hard drive crashes, you have to have a way to turn the machine on and boot it to run the restore program. So both of those applications will give you a suggestion up front about the fact that you need to make a recovery disk. And it's a good idea to do that. It can either be a CD or it can be a USB flash drive. And now, let's say something else about that. Now, that's the suggestion. It's kind of like the suggestion that the guy in the airplane makes when you're going to jump. He suggests you put a parachute on, you know. Now, do you have to do that? No, not at all. But what happens if your computer crashes? Well, then you got to find somebody that's got a computer that works so you can make that boot disk so you can boot your computer, okay? And the other question that usually comes up is when I do my backup and I get a new version of the software, do I need to make a new version of the recovery disk? Or do I need to make one every time I back up? And the answer is no to both of those. If you've got ESUS version 13, of which I think is the newest, you can still use an ESUS version 10 to restore. Did that answer that well enough for you?
Yeah, so,
Okay.
so I can use that, I can make it, because I'm making a disk, I want to go to the neighbor's house and make a disk if I needed to.
Right.
But you're saying I can just make a disk today and 6 months from now,
It'll still work.
even though there's new versions of it.
Right. And if it doesn't, then you can go someplace else and make one. But yeah, you're welcome. Yep.
Initially, I downloaded, updates for like Larry and Valerie Lights and Super and Spider from 9.9. And since then, this execution is in the download folder. So rather than going to 9.9, I update from the.
Yes,
and then I-
that's good. Excellent.
Is there any point where, because now I've been doing that, say, over a year, is there any time when that becomes obsolete and I need to go back to 9.9?
Nope. Nope. That'll work fine. What that does is that little tiny program that Ninite put onto your download folder, it accesses Ninite and it's already got the names of the applications you want. You'll still get the latest applications. Okay? For those of you who don't know what that's about, Ninite is a website where you can go to download various applications like Malwarebytes and Super Anti-Spyware and Internet Explorer and Firefox and a number of programs or applications you might use. And if you go to Ninite, Ninite will download them for you and not ask you any questions. Like, don't you want to buy it? Well, why don't you get this version instead of that version? Oh, and by the way, because you're installing this, I'm also going to put this program on your computer for you. Okay, so you don't get any of those questions and all you get is the program that you like. Now, there's another application that some of us have been using, and I might write something up about it. Well, I've written something on Dave's Computer Tips about it, and that is Patch My PC. Patch My PC works like Ninite. Only it runs on your computer. It checks to see what software you have on your computer, and then it goes out and sees if you have the latest version, and then it downloads it and updates it for you. And it has a lot more software on it than Ninite does. For instance, it has CCleaner. If you're still using CCleaner, Patch My PC will download the latest version of CCleaner, where Ninite no longer has CCleaner available. So those are a couple of different options, Patch My PC and Ninite. But they both do the same kind of a job. They install what they say is silently. In other words, they install without asking you any questions, and they don't put any foreign applications on your computer without your knowledge. Questions? For those of you looking for some basic stuff, by the way, tonight's talk is going to be a little bit about some basic stuff, okay?
Malware bites. Coming on every time, I reach out.
What's it popping up with? Well, it's a little,
Yeah, always wanted to, I got it.
two things with Malwarebytes. One, when you install Malwarebytes, it gives you a 14-day free trial. When the 14 days are over, it says time to buy, okay? You don't have to buy it. You could just say, no, I don't want to do that. The other thing that you can do is when you first install Malwarebytes, you can go into settings and turn off I forget what they call it, the professional version or whatever it is, the trial version that they've given you, and you can turn that off right away. And I have written an article on how to do that. I'm not sure if we talked about it here or not, but I have written an article on Dave's Computer Tips on how to do that step by step. But it's fairly easy. The other thing is if you can go in under settings, you can go in under your task manager and go to your startup. Let me see, let me do that. Let me bring up Task Manager. I right-clicked on the task bar, and I'm going to click on Task Manager. A couple of other ways to get to Task Manager, by the way, is we can hold the Shift and Control key down and tap the Escape key, and that brings up the Task Manager. You can also do Control-Alt-Delete. Remember that in the old days? Control-Alt-Delete, we rebooted the system. Now it brings you to the Control-Alt-Delete screen. And one of the options on that screen is to go into the Task Manager. So I'm going to go over, see on the top where I've got a Startup tab? I'm going to click the Startup tab. And I'm going to click on Status and see I've got all these enabled. For instance, I've got Glare Utilities is one of the maintenance programs that I like to use, but it's enabled, which means it's always running saying, is there a new version available? So if I click on that and say disable, it won't ask me that anymore. And same thing with Ease Us to do backup. I don't need to know what that is anymore either. So go through and disable the ones that you don't want to have talking to you. So you'll find that with Malwarebytes, that's got a program that starts immediately as well. Turn that off and it won't be nagging you with that screen.
Now shift, control.
If you do Shift Control Escape, and by the way, you know, a lot of instructions, including Microsoft's instructions, tells you to hit them all at the same time. Let me tell you a secret about that. You can't hit them all at the same time. Hold all but the last one down and then tap the last one and then let go. If you try and hit them all at the same time, it doesn't always work right, you know. Along those same lines, I don't know about you, but double clicking doesn't always work for me. And you see, they tell you just click twice or click quick. Well, I'm not doing it quick enough. That must be my problem. What you have to do to make the double click work is not move the mouse one tiny millimeter. The mouse is going to be in exactly the same spot.
Move files because of that.
Yeah, you move it just a tiny bit. The second click doesn't catch the first click. Now, the secret to that is two things. One, click it, and hit the enter key. click once, enter, or right click, open. So if you're having trouble with the double click, click once to select it, hit the enter key, it's the same as the open. Grover?
Or you can do like I did, go back to single click.
Yeah, you can do that. There is an option in settings where you can change your click to single click instead of double.
Do you know why they use double click to start? I have names.
Oh, good, give me it.
Back in the dark ages, I don't want to say DOS, you could click on something and it would start, single click. But the problem turned out to be that the speed at which things worked in those days, it could take 2 or 3 or more minutes to load a package into the bin. And if you inadvertently hit 2 or 3 things with a single click, you were dead for 5 or 10 minutes waiting for things to clear out because it wouldn't let you interrupt what it was doing.
Yep.
And when the later versions came out and Microsoft was looking at starting things with a single click, they eventually went back to a double click.
Okay. By the way, anything on the taskbar is a single click. Question?
I had just gone through, Malwarebytes. I got a new computer, so I had to load it in there. And, they were finding, 15 a day bytes, malware. And now that I didn't pay for the boost, I'm getting about a third of what they were getting in the 12 days of, I'm missing out that much or what?
No. What I generally do though is when I first install Malwarebytes, I let it run completely with all the switches turned on with the trial version. And after I've run it once, then I turn that trial stuff off. The essential difference between the trial and the free version is that you got to run the free version, where the trial, the paid for version will do some things in the background. I haven't found it finds anything more than the free version does. But it's also important that we run more than one maintenance program. Malwarebytes finds stuff that Super Anti-Spyware doesn't find, and Super Anti-Spyware finds stuff that Wise Disk Cleaner or CCleaner doesn't find. They're all different companies, so they're getting their information from their customers. So Malwarebytes might find something that one of their customers found, they realize it's malware, they put it into their database, the other companies don't even know about it yet. So run at least all 3 of those. Any other questions? Yep.
When I run Wise Disk Cleaner, it never gets to a point where it's completely clean. Even though I may scan it 2 or 3 times, is there?
By that you mean you run it once and 10 minutes later you run it again and find some more stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's because every application that you run, okay, is creating some temporary files out in memory. So that doesn't mean your computer's got a problem or the program does, okay?
About the live TV, I don't know what, I can't remember the name of the program now.
Cody,
It was just in the last week or so.
Cody, we talked about it a little bit.
Yeah, and, so I loaded it on the computer. Does that mean once I got it, I tried to watch that TV thing on my Roku TV, and it doesn't seem to be going over to that.
Well, how do you display from your computer to the TV set? You have to have a device or a wire or an application to take what's on your phone or your computer and mirror it to your TV set.
Oh, it doesn't just shoot over to.
No, matter of fact, one of the settings on the Roku menu, go down to settings, will be for screen mirroring. You've got to turn it on. Screen mirror.
Screen mirror. Thank you.
Had a question over here?
Next version of Windows? When?
It'll be Windows 10. 21H1. It's supposed to be coming out within the next few weeks. This is like Zoom. This is when Harold usually speaks up, but he says he's saving his questions until Thursday.
Can you shout up the street? No?
You'd have to go up there.
Got one more question in that screen mirror. Does that mean I have to be watching that on the computer to have it go over to my Roku TV?
Yes,
Oh,
yep.
It's called screen variants, that app, screen variants, where they come in, the TV.
I don't know what screen variance is.
I thought I heard you said something.
Screen mirror.
Huh?
Mirror, M-I-R-R-O-R, like looking in a mirror. I mean, you can have a device that plugs into your computer called Chromecast. Chromecast is a little device from Google that allows you to cast your whatever's on your computer screen to your TV. You can also get it a wire, an HDMI wire, and that's what we've got plugged into that projector right now. That's this wire that's coming off the back of the computer. It's plugged into that projector. It was tough getting up there, but we did it.
I didn't think you could jump that high.
Hey, depends what I'm jumping for. Any other questions? Yep.
yeah, I would like to know the office, free office, there's two of them, I believe, are there? Two free office,
You mean the applications?
yeah, and then of course, the good, expensive one. How much difference is there in those between the Microsoft?
Well, Microsoft Office is a very complex package, okay? And LibreOffice is also a very complex package. OpenOffice is another version, which is built on the same platform as LibreOffice is. I like LibreOffice better. And then there's a number of other Office packages out there too. There's one called WPS, which works fairly nicely. And it works in a similar fashion. They all will open and write Microsoft Office files. Now, what you might not be aware of is Microsoft now gives Office programs online free. All you need is a Microsoft account. Matter of fact, if you open up your Start menu, see over here, we've got Office over here on the left. You click on that Office and you get a trial version of 365. And after your trial period is over, it says, you got to buy it now. Right, Susan?
Right,
Yeah.
I did it and messed a lot of things up.
And a lot of people will, I mean, that's why they do it that way. Matter of fact, the latest update from Microsoft, I noticed, turned my computer on, and it came up with a screen. And it says, you should be using Microsoft Edge. Then I had to click elsewhere to say, no, I want to use what I'm using. So they're trying to find different ways to force you into thinking you have to use those particular products, okay? But notice the screen to the right. I'm going to click on it to open. This is a multiple application button, if you will. I click it, it'll open them all up. And notice I've got a Word, Excel, Outlook, PowerPoint. You click any of those and you will get their online version, which is free to use. Remember when we used to have, what was the Office package that was the free one? I can't remember it now.
Works.
Yeah, Microsoft Works, thank you. Remember, Microsoft Works used to come with the computer back with the earlier versions of Windows. And Microsoft Works was kind of a mini version of Microsoft Word, but they didn't use the same file formats, which was kind of a pain in the neck. Matter of fact, if any of you are still using Works, the only application I know of that can read and write Works formatted files is LibreOffice. So if you got some old Works files, LibreOffice will read them. Microsoft Office won't. But they now have it, I mean, Google Docs, Google Spreadsheets, Google Presentation, they're all online, they're all free. Over 90% of the work I do now, I do on Google Docs. So Microsoft is making that available free. So let's go to Word and see what it does. I haven't logged this into my Microsoft account. It's probably going to come up and say, you need to get into your Microsoft account. Looks like it's not going to do anything, but and one of the biggest icons on the screen is going to be buy Office 365. They still want you to buy Office 365, but you'll have icons down on the left-hand side for all of the Office applications. Now, the free version doesn't give you all the things that the pay-for-version does. For instance, with Office 365, you can get to do what's called a mail merge, which is something where you've got a list of names and addresses, and you got a letter you want to send out to all of those people. You can do mail merge, and that same letter will go out to each of those people individually with their name included in the letter. And you can do that in LibreOffice. But what you can't do in any version but Office 365 is a new feature called transcription. How would you like to take a video an audio recording you've got and have it transcribed so it's all typed up for you? Office 365 will do that. But the version that's on the web won't. Let me sign in. Now we'll see if I can sign in correctly, right? Let's see if I can get the right password this time. You don't have that problem, do you? By the way, if you want to know how fast your internet service is, the program I used to tell you about was speedtest.net. Some of you have used that. Speedtest.net works really nice. However, you get a whole bunch of ads. Netflix has created their own called fast.com, F-A-S-T.com. No ads. It runs, tells you how quick your internet speed is. They probably created it because people calling up saying my Netflix isn't working good. So they have them check their internet speed that way. So that works really nice. You might try that one out. All right. See over on the left, notice I got a Go Premium up here. But over on the left, I've got Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook, Notes, OneDrive. So I could create a new blank document here. Now, the document I'm creating is being created online. It's being saved in my OneDrive, which means when I go to my file manager, if I go to OneDrive, I'll see the document listed in my OneDrive. You ever watch water boil? And paint dry, yeah. Well, paint, you're just gotta touch it to see if it's dry, right? Okay. Notice I've got a much smaller ribbon than I would have with the full version. I think I can get a little bit bigger ribbon by clicking this, but I'm not, no, maybe not. But I can do the same kind of things that I always do with Microsoft Word. It probably does, the free version probably does 100% of what most of you are using Word for. The type letters, it does spell checking. You can create, columns, rows, and the Excel works just like the regular Excel does, but there's no charge for it. So there's lots of ways to use an Office package that isn't necessarily the old standby Microsoft Office that you bought and installed on your computer. Does that answer your question, or was that too long? I forget who asked the question. He probably does too.
So that once the file is in OneDrive, and you copy that file on your computer, regular Word.
Yes, let me just,
If you wanted to work offline, no problem. Just buying stuff.
by the way, as you type, there's no file saved. Notice I come over here and there's a save as, there's no file saved. Because as you are typing, it is saving. So let me go to my file manager. Well, let's do it's a new blank document. And it's document 24 is the name that it gave it. So let's go over to my file manager. Now I'm on my computer now. This is Word on the internet. Not going to let me show you that. OneDrive. Nope. We just answer the question because it's not going very fast. Oh, I haven't set up OneDrive. That's the problem. Okay, I don't have OneDrive set up on this. But if you've got OneDrive set up on your computer and you have established that you're using OneDrive, whatever you do online will automatically be synchronized with your OneDrive on your computer. Now, when you look at the files on OneDrive on your computer, to the right of the file name is going to be a cloud or a circle with a green check mark in it. The cloud means this is the name of the file, but we haven't brought it down to your computer yet. It's in the cloud. You click on it on your computer, it downloads it to your computer, so it's in both places. They used to automatically send everything down to your computer, which means you buy a new computer, you sign into OneDrive, and 4 days later, all your stuff is done on your computer. Now all they do is send the file names down, and the ones you want to work on, you can double click and you can work on them.
How do you know how much more space you're gonna have available?
You can go into your OneDrive account. Okay, let me see if that shows. Hopefully it'll pop up that we can see that, but on OneDrive, you can see how much space you have allocated and how much you've already used. Now, if you do decide to get Office 365, it costs you $69 or $70, $69.99. I don't know why they don't just say 70. It's like, why do we have to pay $2.39.9 for gas? Why did they ever do that? So for $69.99, you get Microsoft Office 365, and you get the upgrades, the updates to it all the time at no charge. You just pay that $70 a year. In addition, your OneDrive goes from 5 gigabytes to 1 terabyte. If you pay $99.99, you get a license for Office 365 on 5 computers, and each computer gets 1 terabyte. So you get 5 terabytes of space up on OneDrive. So if you do have a lot of things you want to store on OneDrive, it might be useful to have Office 365, because you'll pay less to do it that way than just buying extra space from Microsoft. Now down here, notice it says, get 1 terabyte of storage, and down here it says, I'm using 14.7 gigabytes of 40 gigabytes. Now I've got 40 gigabytes because I signed up for OneDrive when it was called SkyDrive. And we're talking about 20 years ago. And they made a few upgrades too then, so I'm grandfathered in for some extra space. I know I'm too young to be a grandfather, but we'll leave it at that. Actually, my oldest great-grandson is getting his driver's license. It was tough being a father at 15, let me tell you. Any other questions? Yep.
Does this thing, I've been getting a lot of memos or letters in WordPad, and sometimes it doesn't convert into Word, and I have trouble. So how do you get it to convert it to Word?
I think what you're saying is that you get a letter from somebody in an email,
Yeah.
you download it, and then you double click it to open it, and it's opening up in WordPad,
Right.
right? Okay, what you want to, you can do one of two, you can do either or, open up Word, okay? And then while you're in Word, do a file open and locate the file, and it will open in Word for you. Okay? The other thing that you can do, and this may be the simplest for you, let me just, let me create a dummy document here. New. Let's say new open office document. Okay, if you right click on the document, wherever you downloaded it to, and say open with, the right click, open with. And this is telling me the only app I've got that'll open that is this one. I'm going to say go to find more apps and say, no, I want to open it up with WordPad instead. Okay? and then I come down here where it says, always use this app to open that file. I'm gonna check on that and then click on WordPad. And then in your case, you would do that, but you'd say, open it up in Word. And you'd click down here where it says, always use this app. And then the next time you double click on that app, on that type of a document, it'll automatically open in Word. Yours is set for doc files to open in WordPad is what it is. Yeah. Either way, open up Word, open the file, or right click and say open with, and then tell it, I want to always use this app. Okay? That was a good question. Anybody else? Yep.
If on the file that you're leaving there.
Yep.
You have a lot of, icons I don't recognize. I recognize Microsoft Edge and then I can't see what the rest of them.
Well, you may not use most of them.
Right,
This is LibreOffice up at the top.
okay.
That's one of the Office programs that we were talking about. Microsoft Edge, which is Microsoft's browser, used to be Internet Explorer. If you're still using Internet Explorer, by the way, you should stop. You should use Edge instead. Internet Explorer is no longer being updated, and there are a lot of security issues with it. So, and a lot of applications or a lot of websites aren't even accepting Internet Explorer. Okay, so use Edge, or what I use is Google Chrome, or some of you are using Firefox. So those are the three browsers that are on this computer.
That looks like a list of all security,
Well, this is CCleaner.
Yeah.
This is Wise Disk Cleaner. Okay, this is Adobe Reader. Don't really need Adobe Reader anymore, by the way. Edge does a good job, and Chrome does a good job of displaying PDFs. Malwarebytes, super anti-spyware. This is EaseUS Backup, which is the backup I told you about that I use. This is just a link out to something on Chrome. I forget what I saved there, and the same thing with this one. And this is the PowerPoint presentation that we showed you earlier that Rose did of the transition from our old location to our new. And by the way, I want to get rid of this. I don't need this anymore. I can just drag it to the recycle bin, right? You know, I can also click on it so it's selected and hit the delete key on the keyboard. That does the same thing as dragging it to the recycle bin. I don't know about you, but sometimes I don't drag it quite far enough and it ends up going into something else and that thing opens up and it's a pain. So delete key does a good job. And if you hit the delete key, it's gone, and now the recycle bin has got something in it. It didn't really get deleted.
What's the name of that key?
Delete, D-E-L, okay? And I'm gonna right click and say, well, let's do it this way. Control Z. Control Z just undeletes it. Control Z undoes your last operation. Let's say I copied this file. Let me open up File Manager. Here's File Manager. And let's open up Downloads, for instance. Let's say I copied this file by dragging it over to Downloads. I can Control Z, and guess what? It reverses whatever I did. I remember I was over in, I think it was South Africa. There were a bunch of us on a mission trip, and the pastor's wife was taking all of our notes as to what happened that day and typing them up. And she had this big Word document. And all of a sudden I heard a scream. And I went in the dining room where she was sitting with her computer. I said, "What's the matter?" She says, "I lost everything. It's all gone." I went over and went Control Z, and everything came back. It was a miracle. So remember that Control Z can get you out of some trouble. Now, the other thing that you might find interesting, and sometimes this is dangerous, you know, when I delete that, it's still on the computer. Hasn't gone away, it's still there. And you can very easily go back and get it back from your recycle bin. But if you hold it, if, I'm gonna click it again, and I can do this with dragging as well. I'm gonna hold the shift key down and tap the delete key. And notice, you sure you want to permanently delete this file? Yep. Now it's gone. I can't get it back. Now, there is a program that you can get called Recuva, R-E-C-U-V-A, which will go out to your hard drive and locate anything that's been deleted that you think's been deleted, and it can restore it for you. However, each time you use your hard drive, it writes things out there, so it may have been overwritten, so you can't do it. You got to do it pretty quickly if you realize you messed up and deleted something you shouldn't have. But that's another reason why we do backups. Because when we do a backup, we can go back to that backup and pull out the file that we lost. Any other questions? Well, it looks like it's getting to be, the crew has come in. So I think it's time to take about a 5-minute break? Okay, we're gonna take about a 5-minute break, and then George is gonna come up, we're gonna start the meeting. Thank you all for joining us, and we're gonna leave the Zoom meeting on and running. So let's take 5. Thank you. By the way, if any of you would like to have a cover for your video camera on your laptop, I've got 6 security covers that stick on, and you can slide them back and forth to turn your camera on or close. If anybody like one, come on up, you can have it. Right over where you're. Let's slide back. Oh, so you're back. Yeah. Like putting it on the table. Yeah, you can feel it up. You can feel it up. That sticks on. Slide back. I've got 2 of these left. Anybody else want one? I'll leave them up here. Let's wait. He's going to get started in another minute, so. Make the little kids. Yeah, we can close like figure that out. You gotta play the take pull this down. Or I can take this down. And now I can use this. I gotta stretch the right. I don't know if you've noticed or not, but you got a little desk you can pull out. Only it doesn't fit past my stomach. I don't know about yours. But if you take the one next to you.
What would be the best way to call in a good person like yourself to evaluate people 6 years old?
Yep.
And I can't get the back to operate it. It says,
Harold's there every day. So, Harold is there every day up until 11. George is there most days, right? Now they're on Tuesday. And we'll just come over, just come and bring it.
it's just, it's 7 years old.
Is it a laptop?
Yeah, laptop. It says it needs a new hard drive. And, you know, I'm wondering, I don't have that many favorite programs. Hey, well, bite the bullet and spend another $800 to buy a new
Definitely
computer.
don't need to do that. We think we'll take a look at what's going in it. Worst case, you probably aren't using very much of the hard drive that you've got. You can buy a 240 gigabyte solid state drive, 20 times faster than hard disk.
I priced it already. The one you're replacing.
Right, so that's not as difficult as the hard drive, we can put it in. Put it in.
Can you buy a new one? I can't do any more backup, so this will allow me to do it.
Okay.
That's my concern is if I lose it, then I at least get Word back on it, I can get my other programs from the, external hard drive, those batteries, the programs that I want to put back on. In that.
You've got the installation programs and the key codes, you can put them all back on. Oh, you should be able to take anything out of your drive, and put all over your new drive.
Folks busy.
No, we're all set. Just, come on down. And over on the right should be, or if you scroll up, that's the page. Scroll up.
Oh,
Don't stop.
no,
Go over on home. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right here.
Right there. That might be over time here there. Yeah.
well, it looks like everybody's back. So we're gonna start the meeting. And like we do always, we're gonna start with the pledge of allegiance. Flag over here. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we're going to start with the volunteer of the month. Volunteer of the month is Harold Becker. You come down. Come on down.
I blush easy.
Oh, good, it's more
That's
fun.
good.
Harold has done a lot of work with all the moving, and which makes him March's volunteer of the month,
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
okay? And this is a double header. We missed,
Can I leave?
we missed Robert. Robert, do you want to come down here?
Okay, yeah. She's gonna take pictures, so stick around. Oh, you've been getting them? Okay.
Wow, we got a frame.
And Robert has also been working very hard on all the moving, and he was February's and didn't have a chance to get his
Thank you,
certificate and a little appreciation gift.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
There you go.
I'm working on it.
Okay, and this month's monthly favorites is a program called 1,000 Free Fonts. For all of you who do different rating and everything, this program has 1,000 different fonts. Here's a couple examples of the different fonts that are available. And you just click on this. Here's a lot of different fonts. And according to the description, there's 1,000 different fonts you can have. And there's different categories. Just click a different category and it'll bring up many more. And you just download it and it goes into your files. And when you use something like Word and change the fonts, it'll be there permanently. A lot of fancy ones, a lot of fun ones. And it's a lot of fun. And any questions on them?
Call from
Yes.
Griffin.
Yes.
Call from Griffin.
Once you download them, they will come up and in your area with all the fonts, they'll be automatically added permanently. Pardon me?
Email also?
Yes. Okay, and then we're gonna go to our main program.
Okay.
Okay.
He's back. I go one yay. Okay. And in case you didn't catch it, you can get, no, I can't wear these glasses for that. Wow, no wonder I couldn't see. If you go to, let's get out of that. If we go to cccgc.info, over on the right-hand side, there's the March 21 favorite. So you can click on that right there and see what George was talking about. And this one on top, display stuff and more, is what we're going to talk about. So there's a handout for you there as well. So what we're going to talk about now, you'll see with some pictures and some explanations of how to do things. So let me get out of here. Now, years ago, how many worked with the older versions of Windows, like Windows 3 and 2? And anybody work with Windows 1 way back then? Now we got one. Shannon worked with Windows 1. I didn't work with Windows 1. Matter of fact, I was very skeptical about using Windows. I was a DOS person. I programmed, I did all kinds of stuff, and I remember the first Windows came in, when the first version of Windows came in on a whole bunch of diskettes.
10 floppies.
Yeah, and I had those, and I think she was about 8 years old. My daughter installed them on her computer. That was the first computer that Windows got installed on. I didn't use it. She started using it.
Hello, I got food in my mouth. Go ahead and talk.
Okay, those of you on Zoom, if you'd please mute yourself, we'd appreciate it. Thank you. And but with all those versions of Windows, remember we had something called the control panel. And in the control panel, we could do all kinds of things. Delete, go to the device manager, we could delete programs, we could go to display settings, we could go to all kinds of stuff in the control panel. And the control panel's not there anymore, but it really is. So if for some reason you like to go to the control panel, you can go down to the bottom where it says type here to search. Now, some of you may not have that type here to search box. You may have turned it off, which you can do by right-clicking here on the taskbar, and you can remove this so you don't see you've got more real estate for your icons. So Windows Q automatically brings you down to that type here to search. Just start to type control, C-O-N. Notice control panel's up at the top and it's highlighted in blue, which means if I hit the enter key, that's where it'll go. And there it is. There's that old control panel we always saw, right? And these are the different sections, and we could go over here and change the category and say I want large icons or I want small icons, and we could find all these things to go into. They're still there, most of them. Some of them have been removed, but most of them are still there. But instead, in Windows 10, we go to the system screen. We can get there by clicking Start and clicking the gear, or we can go over here and click the notification area. And, whoops, notification area. And expand this, and we've got a gear there for all settings. I like shortcuts. Some of you probably know that if you've taken some of the classes I've given. Windows I brings you right into that settings menu, to that settings area, okay? Now, a lot of the control panel functions are now available in settings. Like looking at your display, checking your sound, your power options. They're all available here. These are similar sections like the control panel sections. One thing that you do want to take a look at frequently is updated security to make sure that you've got the latest updates. Now, once a month, is it the first Tuesday? The second Tuesday night, we say the second Tuesday, but really the second Wednesday, Microsoft will have already made available its once a month updates. You can click here and say check for updates. Now they're going to be coming in for you. The updates are going to come in. However, the major updates, for instance, cumulative update preview for Windows 10 version 20H2, I can click here to download it and install it. It didn't come in automatically. So, if you're not sure, I'm going to go back to that home screen. If you're not sure what to look for, you don't have to go figure out where it is. If I wanted to do something with display, I can just type in the search box, display, and it says, these are all the things I can do with, well, how do I change the brightness level? Oh, okay, I'll click on that. And here's where I can change the brightness level. So that search box allows you to go into whatever detail you're looking for without having to search through this one and that one and look down and find it. Just type in what you'd like. And we'll do a little bit more with that. For instance, let's go and find something about personalization. Personalization, no results. Did I spell it wrong? Yeah. It doesn't do a spell check. Okay, let's take a look at personalizations and let's go to lock screen settings. Come on, there it is. The lock screen. When you turn on your computer, let's get back to it. When you turn on your computer, the first thing you get is a screen that asks you for your username and password, right? You can change what that background looks like. And you do that right here. Notice this one says Windows Spotlight, which means Microsoft is sending you on a random basis different. Notice that changes once in a while. You've seen the same one for a while, that all of a sudden it changes to something else. If you pull this arrow down, you can change it and make it whatever picture you'd like it to be. Now, here are some of the standard ones. This one's been around for a while. Well, these all have been around for a while. And these are the different pictures that you'll see. You can also just say, browse out to your own pictures and choose one of your pictures that you'd like to have as that background on that screen when you first turn your computer on. Now, when your computer locks, which means you've got it set to timeout, maybe after 10 minutes the display turns off, or you hold the Windows key down and tap the letter L, which locks the computer. And when you come back to it, you've got to sign back in. This will also determine what that screen looks like. Okay, that's the lock screen. You can also do a slideshow. So you can, let's say you've got a group of pictures you'd like to see just in the background, just running like a slideshow. Every few seconds, a new picture comes in. You can choose slideshow. So we can do picture, we can do slideshow, and we can let it do the Windows Spotlight. Now let's take a look at background. Couple of things. Now, actually, I'd like to look at, let's look at the display first. Let's go to display. I'm going to go to change the size of text. Notice change the size of text, apps, and other items. 100% is recommended for this particular screen. However, I could change it to 125%. And then some apps won't respond to scaling changes until you close and reopen them. But notice all of my icons now got a little bit bigger, all the words got a little bit bigger. I don't really like the 125% on this screen, but if you've got a larger screen, I think you'll find 125 works pretty well. Let me go back into Windows Eye. And notice everything's a little bit larger. And I'm taking a guess that a lot of you wouldn't mind having things a little bit larger. So let's go back to change the size. And we'll bring that back down to 100%. And they say recommended because for particular screen on this laptop, 100% is probably the optimal. But if you've got a laptop that's got a much higher resolution screen, the 125 will work really well. Now notice I'll minimize that and all the icons are back to the way they were before. Now, let's look at another way. And this, I'm going to show you some, I'm going to look at a way to go in and make some changes that is similar to the way we used to do it years ago. I can right click on the desktop and go to personalize. And that brings up the settings. Notice that what it used to bring up was a little dialog box that we do something with. It just automatically goes to settings. Now I can change the background just like we changed the lock screen. I can use a picture for a background, and these are all the standard pictures from Microsoft. I can browse to choose one of my own. So I got a screen of a background of my own out there. Or I can do a solid color. And I just choose the color that I would like it to be. Or I can say custom color, make it an exact color. Or I can do a slideshow just like I could on the lock screen. And again, I can point that to my picture library, my picture folder, and all my pictures can come up one at a time. Personally, I find that very distracting when I'm using my computer. I don't mind this Windows 10 screen. I can see things on it very easily. The color scheme's okay. Either that or I like to use a solid color, something like a light gray or a light blue or a light green. And I find that works good for me. But you can go in and play with any of this stuff. You know, years ago, I used to teach, this is back with Windows 3. I used to teach some adult education classes, and we'd spend the first couple of nights just playing with changing the colors and how to use the mouse and click the mouse and all that. And it was all revolved around how do you change the way the look and feel of the screen. We don't talk about that anymore at all. We just kind of accept the way Windows 10 does it, and we just leave it that way. But you can make all those kind of changes. Okay, here's one that some of you might wonder about, and that is screensaver. How many used to use a screensaver all the time, right? We always did. We used the screensaver. And why? Because we didn't want our monitor to look like the computer screens that we saw in the restaurants back then, when you could see the menu permanently burned into the screens. But that's when we used to have cathode ray tubes or CRTs, glass tubes. Now that we've got liquid crystal displays, they don't get burned in. They're not as susceptible to that kind of damage. But we can still use sometimes screensavers are just fun. Let's just type screensaver in there and see what it gives us. Turn the screensaver on and off. Let's see what that gives us. And that gives us the same dialog box that some of you will remember from Windows 3.1. Dialog box hasn't changed. Right now it says none. But let's say we change it to a 3D text. And we can preview it. So now our screensaver would look like this. And we can put whatever words we want on that. So after your screen goes dark, because you've got the power settings set to go into screensaver mode after so many minutes, which is down here, wait 1 minute. And you check this to say on resume, display the log on screen. So you're essentially locking the computer and having whatever display you'd like to have on there. Instead of 3D text, we could say, you know, all Mystify, whatever that one is. Let's preview that and see what it shows us. That was really mystical, wasn't it? There we go. Well, it doesn't show it long enough. Or we can just say none. I don't bother to use it. If we were going to use it, we would set it up the way we would like it and we would say apply. And then the next time our screen went into our display got shut down because it got to this, whatever this timeout was, the screensaver would come on. I know some people in offices used to have a hotkey on their screen, on their computer to turn the screensaver on. So that when the boss came near, they could put the screensaver on so he couldn't see the game that they were playing, usually solitaire back then. And another thing that I want to show you is if we see all these icons, some of you have icons filling the whole screen. I know you do. I've seen some of your screens. You can right-click and say View and uncheck Show Desktop Icons. Now you've got a nice clean screen to work with. So you can have different windows out there and without being distracted by all the icons. They didn't go away. They're still in your folder on File Manager. Matter of fact, if we go to File Manager, and we go to the desktop folder, actually, this is only going to be the quick access. Let me go to this PC and desktop. Well, there's the stuff that's on my desktop. Actually, I got more than that on my desktop. Where did I do? What did I throw them all away? But if I right click and say View, Show Desktop Icons, they all come back. Okay? Now, the other thing that you might not know is that you can change the size of the icons. Some of you with really good eyesight might want to use small icons, which look like that. Some of you like to use that because now you can fit more on the screen. And large icons, which looks like this, which is much easier for you to read, okay? And I like the medium icons myself. You can also auto-arrange the icons, which means whenever you put a new icon on, it automatically finds a place to put itself. And you can align them to a grid, so they're all evenly lined. And you can turn all those off, and I could turn this align to grid off and put this over here, and put this one down here, put this one over here. Or I can come over here and say View, Auto-Arrange. Bingo, puts them all back there. And I can align them to a grid also. I don't like to auto-arrange them though. Okay. Let's take a look at, let me go back to the settings, Windows I, let's bring that settings up. So two Windows key things I showed you today. One is Windows I will bring settings up, and Windows Q will bring you down to the type here to search. Windows Q, type it, hit enter. And what you will look for is going to be popped up for you. Let's look for, now I can come down here and go to devices, mouse, but I'm just going to do a search. Let's look for mouse settings. There we go, mouse settings. And I can change this mouse, adjust mouse and cursor size. It used to be, by the way, I don't know if you remember, but the cursor used to be that letter I with the lines on top and the bottom, looked like an I beam. And that was the cursor. Well, I think it's been kind of accepted now that wherever you place the mouse is kind of talked about as that's being the cursor. It's not what it used to be called, but now it seems to be called that way. So change the pointer size. See the size of my pointer? You can really see it now. If I make it this big, you'll see it. See? Now you can really see it? I like to have it more like size 3. Now I can see it better, okay? We can also go over to mouse pointer. Change the pointer size, additional mouse settings. Come on. There we go. And this brings up a dialog box, which looks very similar to what the old Windows 3.1 dialog box was. Mouse properties. If you really want to mess somebody up, by the way, go in here and change their mouse to left-handed instead of right. And then the left and right buttons get swapped and they can't figure out why they can't. That's not nice though, is it? You can change the double click speed here. So remember what we talked about earlier tonight? Double click means clicking twice in the same exact location. If you have a problem doing that, I suggest single click and hit the enter key. It'll do the same job. Now, let's go over to pointers. You can change the kind of a pointer, the way it looks. You can customize it. We're just going to leave it the way it is. But pointer options. I don't know if you've ever had the situation where the mouse somehow is noticed, my mouse is lost. I don't know where it is. Well, if you go over here and say show location of pointer, now I hit the control key and I can see where my mouse is. So instead of looking all over with you moving the mouse to find it, that can be a little bit easier. Another thing that some people like is to display pointer trails. It's kind of like mouse poop, but I don't like that one. But that's another one. So I'll click apply, and that'll leave that control pointer there. So that was just a few things that I thought might be interested in hearing about. Hopefully some of you picked up a couple of new ideas from that. And there is a handout about 9 pages that you can download off the website, okay? Thank you. Dr. George.
Now comes the fun part, the raffles. I mentioned it before, but this March meeting is our 1-year anniversary of having an in-person meeting. And every month, the meeting will be here from 5 to 8. The intermediate is going to start at 6. 5 to 6 is kind of a welcoming. And then next month, at the start of the 7 o'clock, we're going to have the director from here talk to us a little about what's going on with this building and things that are available and prices on it. So that's something to look forward to. So we're going to start with the raffle. Yes.
Talk about that a little bit.
Because this is our grand opening of meeting in public, we got a special offering. This is an Amazon Fire computer, Android. that we're going to be giving away with the red tickets. So everybody get out their red tickets. And, oh, okay. Dick, you want to pick the first one? And this is for the Fire 7?
Okay, the winner of the fire is 950647. 950647. Somebody who left already? Yeah, in the white Lexus, yeah. The white SUV.
Okay,
Okay,
last chance.
last chance, yeah.
Okay, then we'll pick another one. I have another chance at this.
Okay, maybe one more.
Okay.
Okay, we'll try this number, 950621. Yay! Okay,
All right.
Ray Howard. Okay, stand there with us for a picture, Howard. Way to go.
And that machine runs for about $79.
And we got that because we're a member of APUG. We paid our annual dues in December, and they were giving away 2 for all of the APUG groups all around the country, hundreds. And we ended up being one of the winners. So that just became available for us.
And that is, APUG is APCUG. And on the newsletter, you will notice that I have been putting some information in there about them. Because we've paid membership, you also are a member and can attend their classes as well. So do take a look at that. Okay, and then next, we have
A choice.
a choice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 free raffles for our $25 gift cards. 2 for Winn-Dixie, 2 for Walmart. And we have a headset with a microphone attachment. Okay, so we all set? Good luck.
Want me to pick again?
Sure, go ahead.
I got 1 this time.
All right. Okay, the first winner, 950651. I heard a ooh, wow. Last 3 numbers, 651. Yes? Okay, which prize would you like?
Oh, come on down and choose.
Or if you can,
And
yeah.
they can
You can.
hold the next one.
Right, and I don't have a notepad for names, so. Okay, our winner is, what your name is?
Bob
Bob Mueller.
You want a Walmart card, a Winn-Dixie card, or a headphone?
I can use this.
Okay.
All right, he's taking the headphone. Yes,
Bob,
thank you.
Bob, can you draw the next
Oh,
one?
yes,
Yeah, draw the
please.
next one.
Is it yours? No, okay. All right, last 3 numbers. 636. 636. Another dud. Okay, going once, going twice, 636. It's gone.
Well, we know now the guy with the car bought two.
Okay, trying again. Last three numbers, 638. Hey,
Okay.
all right, we have a winner. Okay. Cookie's
And
coming.
from now on, the door
Whoops, coming
prizes,
down
the door
whoops, hang
prizes
on
will
there.
be gift cards. Winn Dixie or Walmart? You get food in both places.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, and if
Take
you
that and turn around.
turn around
Get your
to
picture
Kinga
taken.
to get your picture.
And why don't you have your,
And
let's have this hanging out so we can see what your name is.
what? And what is your name, sir? Donald
First.
Horseman. Okay, congratulations. Next one, oh, Donald. Here.
Gotta work.
Yeah, that'll work. You pick one. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Okay, and the next number is 616.
616.
616, you bet.
That's right.
Harold Vickers.
So we take this off? Hey. Yeah.
Walmart or Winn Dixie? Walmart?
Walmart.
Okay,
Thank
you got
you.
it. Turn around.
Yeah.
Everybody should your picture. You give Rose your name?
Gary Katz. Thank you, Rose.
Sure.
This is tricky.
And we'll have the bucket
What's
have
his
you.
last name?
Let me,
Test.
K-E-T-T-S.
AETTS.
That edging is terrible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And you don't have any protection for your toes.
you're right. 620.
Here, how about you?
Okay.
Okay, next winner is last three numbers, 620. Oh, neat, all right. And we have one after that?
Walmart or Winn Dixie?
No, Walmart.
Okay.
All right. Susan, we need your picture?
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
And if you pick the, Susan, if you pick the last one?
Last one.
Yes or no?
Oh, it is two.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And our last gift card number is 619. 619. Yeah, I didn't, okay, it's the red one. All right, we'll try again. George, you want to,
No, I got mine.
because you got yours there. Okay. He'll pick his own. Okay. Ready? 608. 608. It's the president, George. Yay!
I gotta write his name down.
You
I wanted a Walmart card though.
do. Too bad. Okay.
We gotta plan a group at that first one, but we don't have that.
The Yeah. Harold got the fighting. Okay, we neglected to get the name of the person who got the headphones. Bob Mueller, that's right. Thank you, Bob, sorry.
Okay, next is the 50/50 raffle.
Next is 50/50. Let's see. Okay, George, how about you pull that one? Maybe not?
Probably not.
Okay, and for the 50/50, you're going to win $50. That is the dark blue ticket. Okay, the dark blue ticket. I will give you the last four numbers. 3800. Yay! This lovely lady in the front. It is, that's it, and that's Terry Lowry. Okay, and Terry, I'll get your picture of me handing the money here. There you go, yeah. Okay, so much.
You want Terry to draw the computer?
Yes, Terry.
Close your eyes and dig in.
Yep.
Is it my name?
Oh, just one of them.
Wait,
Terry.
I got two.
Yeah, you gotta get just one.
There you go.
Yeah, that's no whammy. Okay, oh my goodness. Okay, Robert Mueller, you get to come down again. He won the computer. And then George, did you want to talk about those ones in the bay? Yes or no? Quick, before they leave. No?
No, because I checked everyone who was here.
Okay. Do you want to say anything else then? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Hold that up. Turn around. She'll take a picture.
All right, congratulations, Robert.
Enjoy.
So, and at this point, I'd just like to thank everybody for coming. And we hope to see you all next month.
Or see you at the club.
Remind him of the new office.
Oh. And as you know, we're no longer in the cultural center. Our address is 514 East Gray Street in Punta Gorda.
And there are directions on the website.
And thank you, everybody, and have a nice evening.
Now we can stop the share. And we had Linda and Gloria.